Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Thanks for watching. Can everyone just shut the hell up now? Or no? Well, I'll explain what I mean. In Superman 43, Lois Lane was finally shown to have revealed Clark Kent's identity as Superman to the rest of the world. For months now, we've been following the mystery, or many people have dropped out of the mystery, or many people refuse to even look at the mystery once they heard that the end of the mystery was that Lois Lane was going to tell us who Superman really was. From the beginning, I knew, and I had said, and I had hoped, and I had prayed that everyone would follow me along on this journey and would listen to me when I said there would be a reason. It wouldn't be like, well, I'm bitchy, so I'm just going to tell who Superman is, blah, 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 blah. No one was going to do that. The idea was that there was a reason for it. In fact, in dialogue at one point earlier on in the story, Lois says that she and Diana agreed that it needed to be done. I'm not sure where that's going to come in, because the way the story plays out, Lois is alone, watching Clark get tortured by a guy who is saying he's going to reveal his identity to the world and then snuff out all of the people who know his identity or are close to him as Superman or as Clark Kent if he doesn't do everything he says. So, spoiler alert from over a month ago, if Lois didn't do what she did, Superman was supposedly going to have to bend at the will of this identity, this masked thing. And anyway, Superman said, well, I could take you out. And the guy said, well, you could take out this node, because it's apparently some sort of digitized situation where the villain is actually somewhere else, but he's torturing Superman here. He wants Superman to use his flare power, which is something else that other people quit for. A lot of people ran out of the story as soon as they said that Clark was going to be able to flare up suddenly and have a new power. He's already too powered. He's got too much power already. We really need to give him another power. For me, it's always been another day in the life of Superman, another adventure, an ongoing trip through excitement. Now, since the New 52, I can't say I've been jumping up and down about many storylines, but the reason for that is that the writing's just not that good and it's not that compelling. It's still Superman. I still hear people saying, when's Superman going to be Superman again? If you're talking about when's he going to get his powers back, I suppose that's a relevant point, although Clark is still Superman at his core, even if he doesn't wear a supersuit or fly around. Back to the point at hand, Lois reveals his identity before the villain can do it because she wants to empower Superman to be able to do what he needs to do and to not be tortured. She just saw that Clark was depowered for over a day and that his powers have only just started to come back, and Clark's made mention that it's taking longer. He doesn't understand why. So, as a person who just found out who he was and has only known him as Clark all this time, but knows that Superman's this great entity for good in the world, doesn't want to see the guy get tortured. And now, her best friend, even though I don't feel like they've really followed through on that through the however many years it's been since the New 52 launched, is now being tortured and could die or could get really hurt, and he's at the whim of this guy. And she happens to be there, and she says, well, if we do it first, then he's got no power, so I'll just do it, which I guess is skewed logic to an extent, but someone under emotional duress, someone seeing their friend being tortured, someone not knowing how long this guy can take this type of torture because he's been weakened, and not really knowing Superman's full resources anyway. She was never that close to Superman or Clark in the New 52 from what I can tell, and she's in a desperate situation, and she makes a human error and tells his identity. Does this mean she's a horrible person, a traitor, a bitch, as everybody keeps saying? I say it's not, and I say we finally got the reason, and it makes sense from a human standpoint. The other argument I hear is, story is fine, I just don't like the premise. And mostly, I believe that the reason you don't like the premise is because it's doing away with a long-standing trope of Superman, that he puts on some glasses and no one can recognize who he is. Now, in the Superman movie, Man of Steel, Lois already knows. It's likely that Perry knows, or that he will know. They don't seem to care as much about the identity, and probably because they're trying to say it's not very likely that the same guy that you know in one guise could wear another without a mask covering his entire face or changing his voice, and that you wouldn't know that Clark Kent was Superman. I don't know that they're ever going to fix this, and I think that the people who are most against it, or who most hate the premise, are the people who are worried that we're not going to see Clark Kent / Superman anymore, because now people know who he is, and the whole world does know how he is. I don't know how they reset this without a whole universe revamp, which is a whole other story. But the fact that Lois did what she did for the reason that she did whether she should have or not, whether Clark is peeved at her or not, she did it to protect her friend and to give him the power that the villain was trying to take away. She had a good reason, even if she was emotionally driven to do it and didn't really make the right choice. Who knows what the right choice would have been? Thanks, everybody, for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.